Hello, this is your instructor. I was looking through test 2 results, and there was something that was bugging me, and it was all about blocks. Some people did some very different things. A lot of people did not include the defined attribute text field that I had required on the block. That requires using the command @def. That was back in chapter 6. You should have done that as part of making your title block. So here are 4 instances of inserting something into what is essentially a blank drawing. And that's what I'm doing to assess your block. Now you can see here I have something that is just a drawing that happens to have a text box. Let me pin the properties out. And you can see that if I select this, it's a circle. These are just lines. This is M text. Okay, so this is just a drawing, and that's why it says non-example. Here is an example of a block. This is a write block. It was created in the source, and you'll notice that the block is individual items, and this is actually, it's an attribute definition. If I double click on it, then it comes up that I can edit the tag, the prompt, and what the default is. This is the attribute that is defined, and because I'm in the block itself, I can still edit it. Notice though, it is multiple objects and there is no base point. This is my source file. You'll notice it is a block. There is a base point that is, of course, on the object. And you'll notice that it says north. If you recall, that's the default text for the attribute definition. So now if I double click it, now I've got the attribute editor. So I can't change the tag, I can't change the prompt, but I can change the value. So let's say I'm in Australia and I want it to be south. It could change it. Let me undo that. And then here is an example of the source where it was not converted to a block during the block creation part when you're turning it into a write block. Notice it looks identical to the block. So this is the block itself. This is the source where I didn't convert it to a block during the process. So just looking at this file, I, as the assessor, cannot tell if this is your source file, where you just didn't convert the block during the block creation process, or if it is the block itself. I wanted to see if I could tell based on where the base point is. Now you will remember that I did have, you can see it here, I did have a base point in the middle of the sort of bullseye, the target there of the compass rose. So let's go ahead and insert. Let me pin this out. And I can hide this. Okay, so now I'm going to insert the block. This is the one that is the example. I'm going to go ahead and insert it. In 2020, they started having this blocks palette instead of something that was a little more user-friendly. So you say that you're inserting it, but then it doesn't, and you have to right-click, insert, and it says specify insertion point, and then you can see that it knows where the base point is, and it asks you what it's supposed to be, and voila. Okay, so now let's do the right, when the right block's converted source is inserted. So that would be the compass rose example source. So let's try that. Notice the base point is origin. See, there's the base point, not on the object. And so that tells me that if that happens, you probably did not submit your block. You probably submitted your source file. So now let's see what happens when the right block's unconverted source is inserted. Same thing. I'm going to leave this one at north. So if the block is inserted, then the base point is in the correct place. So that's if you submitted your block. If you submitted your source file, whether it was converted to a block or not, then it is going to be origin. So that means you didn't submit the correct file. And just to show that that's what's happening, so here's when a regular drawing file is inserted. We're going to use my non-example. And again, remember, any drawing file can be inserted into another drawing file. So if you are giving me your source file, whether it is converted into a block or not, the base point is going to be gone. The block itself should be disconnected, and then when it's inserted, it's all connected into a block. So many of you turned in this. It was your source file where it had been converted into a block, and that's what you submitted. And so the base point was at origin of wherever you were. Whether it's converted or unconverted, it's just the source file, the base point's going to be in the wrong spot. If it's unconverted or actually is the block itself, if you open that file, it will look like it's not a block. But this is the combination I'm looking for, where in the file itself, it's unconnected, but when it's inserted, it is all one object with the base point on the object, which is what you're supposed to do. So I hope that clears up some misconceptions about blocks. Remember, if you have any questions, ask and play with the software. I just set up this little experiment. It took me like 20 minutes just to put all, make these and do all the different flavors and see what happened. If you're not playing, you're not learning, all right? So play, have fun, see how it works, and if you have questions, go ahead and ask. Thanks very much.